For today's live stream, my colleague Indranil suggested that last time for the last live stream, I did not really go into all the design decisions I made for all the decorations. So he suggested that I go and do like a second part where like I talk more about what's the story we're making all these design decisions. So I guess the goal for today is to be a little bit less technical in that like I'm not like super I'm not gonna do all the setup I did for the previous one. But I want to like talk about like options for decorating and like what it looks like to make all these kind of little decisions about the squiggles and things like that. So that's the idea for today. Thanks everyone for coming. I see you in the chat. That's awesome. So let me kind of recap the what we did last time to kind of get you kind of situated. So by the way, if you're looking for the projects that I publish on all the live streams, right now like the easiest way to find them is to go to the Cuttle YouTube channel. So if you go to Cuttle, youtube.com/Cuttle, that is the YouTube channel, and on the playlists you'll find the Facebook live sessions. That's the easiest way to like find those. So if I look at the full playlist, I can see all the list of the ones we've done. And then I think the past like 10 or so, I've started publishing the projects. And so here you can find the video. And if you open the video, you'll see that on the descriptions, I published the starter project. So right here, you can click on it. And there is the starter project for that particular one. So this is not like the perfect way to find them. We're kind of working on a nicer way to find all of these, but in a pinch. So here is the one from last time where we made this like Easter egg. And so the way this Easter egg works is that you can type any name here. Then it gets fit inside of the egg, and then last time I just kind of really quickly went through just a couple of types of decorations for the egg. So I did these lines, the squiggles, and this kind of like contour, and I don't think I did that in the live stream. And then I kind of separated things into folders, so you can choose the font here, and then the thickening of the font, and then the scale, which kind of like brings it in or out of that container. And then a simple folder for the whole size for the backer. So what I want to do this time is to just kind of concentrate on like design, mostly how these decorations are done. So if we open this project in the editor, the way we structured it last time is that I started with an egg shape, which is like a simple path that I did from an emoji. Then I created a backer, which is simply the egg shape plus a hole. Then I created a component here called the decoration, which is the component that includes all the different decorations, the squiggles, the lines, and the contour one. And then the front layer takes that decoration component. It plasters this connected text on top of it, and then we use fit within, the modifier, and fit within just kind of expands the text to fit within the container. And then finally, we use this auto layout to create, to include the front and the cut and the backer. So I think what I want to do is like create a simplified version here of the same setup to kind of sort of iterate or make some variations. But I want to be able to test that my text is working. So I'm going to kind of switch between these two projects. I created a blank project over here. So I'm just going to get started, I'm just going to like copy things from this one. So I definitely want that egg shape. And I guess this is also an excuse to show you that you can like copy components from one project to another really easily. So if you hit the three dots here, there is an option that says copy components. So I can click on that. I get a little prompt here saying, oh, that was copied. So I got moved to my other one and then just paste. I could do Control V, Command V on Mac. And I get that component here, that egg shape, in my new project. So what should I call it? I'm going to call it Easter Egg Designs. And this one is already sized to what we had before, so that's a good start. What else do I want to copy? Not very much. I think I'm just gonna like replicate it myself. So I know I had another component that we call the decoration. And I'm just gonna create like a very basic decoration there. Like the very basic thing I need is the egg shape. And then the egg shape just needs to have the stroke attribute, not be a hairline. So I'm gonna check it. And then the width I've been using is 0.15. I'm gonna make it red. And then the alignment should be inner. So it moves the stroke to the inside of the shape. That was helping us align it to the back. So that's the very basic decoration I want. And because this is just the stroke, the thickness of the stroke is not going to translate into a cut. So to make that, I need to flatten it. And then, so this has no decoration. This is just like sort of my placeholder. And then I created a front component that has basically the decoration. And then I place some connected text in it, searching for connected. I'm going kind of fast because I kind of did these last time. So I'm just kind of creating my setup. I'm gonna make it smaller so it fits inside of it. Let's go back to that Lisa name. I use the cookie font. Definitely remember that. I thickened it a little bit. And so then I want these to fit within that egg, so to auto size depending on the different. So I'm gonna go to the modify menu and choose the fit within modifier. Actually, I want this to be red. And then, because right now it's just touching the edges, if I select fit within, I can scale it up a tiny bit. So it overlaps a tiny bit. And for the last version, what we used, we use this modifier called use treatment, which gives me the option to select whether it's a score or it separates the pieces. So if you want that particular behavior, you can like check out that previous video. But like the basic behavior is score is basically well done score. So I'm gonna kind of just apply the well done score on this new project. Well done score here at the bottom. I'm covering it. Right there, well done score. So well done score welds the shapes and then creates this like where they overlap, it creates a score line, which is kind of nice. So with that basic setup, let's talk design. So what I want to do is like create multiple options for my design and just be able to test them with this name that I created. I think by the end of the video, I might just add the designs to this kind of setup so you can like select them here. But for now, let's focus on the design itself. So I'm gonna create, I'm just gonna call it option 1, option A. So I'm gonna start with my egg shape for my first design. And I want to do that same, well, the same things I did to the other one. I wanted to have a red stroke that is 0.15, and the alignment is inner. And I think the first option I didn't cover last time was I wanted to have this sort of contour lines. And the way I achieved the contour lines was this with this option called arc. If I search for lines and yeah, arc from center and points. So this particular one lets me place an arc. There are different options, but I'm going to use the center and points. So this one has a center point and the other points of the arc. So as you can see, one of the points controls how big the arc is. It could turn into a circle, and the other one controls where it ends. So with this one, I would just want to create these lines that kind of give you a sense of the contour of the egg. So I'm going to kind of manipulate these points until they match where I kind of want to have them. And then I want to be able to do that. Say, I want to be able to have the same thickness. So I can select it, change the stroke to red and 1.5. You can say 1.5, 0.15. And then, yeah, that looks good. I probably want these to be over here. So that gives me the kind of contour of the egg. And then now I want another arc for the bottom. So I could always drag another arc, place it somewhere in the center, and then drag the other 2 points. So here's, if I change the center, you can see how it changes sort of the contour, like the severity of that contour. So here's a quick tip. Sometimes it can get tedious to like select the arc, the stroke, and then like go in and select all the different attributes the way I've been doing. So you can copy and paste those. So if I select these, you'll see that the stroke attribute of the previous arc is selected. And so if I copy that, I could do Command C or Control C on Windows. So that gets copied. You can see here that I get the prompt saying copied stroke, and then I can move to my other arc and then do paste. So I'm going to do Command V. And so that only pasted all the stroke attributes, so the color and the width, which is nice. It's a sort of quick way of doing it. Here I get this kind of additional point. I mean, it was like poking like that, and I get this kind of weird contour I don't like. So I'm going to move it in. And that would be my first option. So I think this looks good. To finish it off, I'm going to select everything, apply flatten. So all the red turns into a cuttable outline. I'm going to select stroke result. And so now to test it, I'm going to test it with the name. I mean, I want to go to my decoration component. I'm just going to hide the previous one. And I'm going to place the option A right there. And by placing option A right there, what happens is that it gets applied on the front component. So looks good. I think that works. Now let's do another option. So I want to keep my options in different components to keep them organized. So one thing I could do is simply duplicate it. So if I click the 3 dots, I can hit duplicate. And so I just get my starting point but it has all these options applied. Maybe that's too much. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to delete the flatten, and I'm going to ungroup this group. So I don't want the arcs. I'm going to delete those. The next option I was thinking is that it could have like a little undulating line. So to make the undulating line, I'm gonna select the pen tool, and I'm gonna just click here, hold the shift key to make it perfectly horizontal, and then click here, and I'm gonna end it by selecting the selection. So that's just like a line. Then I'm gonna so what I want to do with this line is double click it. So that brings me back into like editing mode. And if I double click in the center, I create a node. So by creating a node, now I can create this, I can move it around. So that's like a square node or like a corner node. And if I double click that node again, it turns it into a curvy node. And so it gives me these handles. So I'm just going to do a very simple manipulation. I'm going to move this handle up like so, and this handle down like so. So you can see how my handles are creating this like kind of wave. And I think that's good. And so I want the same business here. I want the red. And once again, I get this little hump. I want to select it here and move it in. When I'm doing these edits, I'm double clicking into it. And so you can see I enter into this like focus mode. And so I want another squiggle. I could duplicate this one. Yeah, why not? I'm gonna right click, duplicate. I'm gonna move it down. And I'm gonna enter into edit mode again by double clicking into it. And I'm just gonna move the anchors to the sides. So it gives me that kind of undulating line. Yeah, it's good enough. I'm gonna modify, flatten, and select the stroke result. Now I'm gonna place it in the decoration, but I'm just gonna hide the previous one. So I could even get rid of this X shape. That was just a placeholder. So I have option A, place option B. And if I go back to the front, then option B got applied. And actually it looks good. My concern here was that like maybe this wave part would like touch the name, but I think it looks all right. Okay, let's try another option. So let's duplicate option B. I named it AB because every time you duplicate, it names it the consecutive letter. So if I duplicate option C, it will create option D, which is neat. So let's concentrate on option C. So option C, I'm gonna just simply ungroup these. That gets rid of the other one. And the other idea I had for this one, maybe this one, I was thinking circles. Part of where I got the inspiration for some of the decorations is that I've been looking at the Noun project. This is a separate service, but if I search for Easter egg, and they have all these, all these like little SVGs that you can download. So here's where I'm kind of getting some of the ideas. I saw the squiggle over here. Like this one, I was looking. This one has like some circles around it. I mean, these are like a circle in the center. But yeah, that seems like to be a sort of common feature, like little circles. This one also has circles. So anyway, that's my inspiration for that one. So I was thinking, what about a circle? So just place a circle in the middle. I'm going to do that trick again where I copy the stroke. So I'm going to select this one, do Command C in my case, and then paste it onto the circle. So I just copies the stroke attributes. I can get rid of that line now. So I was thinking circle here. Let's change the scale. And my thought would be same circle at the bottom. So I'm going to duplicate this one. Place it here. And I think, so then I want to, Lisa suggests hatching. Yeah, maybe we should try that one. I like the hatch. But let me finish the circle. So here I'm going to duplicate this one again. Instead of right click and duplicate, I could do the keyboard shortcut, Command D. I'm going to do Command D, and then I'm going to move it on the side. I'm going to make it smaller. And I just kind of want it to be touching the edges. So I get this kind of arc kind of thing. I could simply duplicate this one and then move it. That leaves me with the problem of like, maybe I'm not being super precise, which is fine. That's fine. I'm just gonna do it. No, actually, it's not fine. I think the easier way to do it is if I select this one and apply this modifier called mirror repeat, it's going to be perfectly perfectly symmetrical. So I can move one and the other one kind of moves along. And while I'm here, I can actually duplicate that one. And now I get like another perfectly symmetrical one that can move down here. Notice when I duplicated the whole thing, it duplicated the mirror repeat. So that's like a quick way. Let's select this one separately. Anyway, you get the idea here. So I'm going to select everything here, and I do apply the flatten. Again, stroke result. It's okay. It's an okay design. So then I'm going to do the same business here. I'm going to go back to the decoration. I'm going to hide the previous one. And the one I just created is called option C. I'm going to place it right there. And I can test it with the name. So in this case, notice that, I mean, the name is touching the circle. It's not bad. But one thing I can do, if like, I can also edit things in context. What I mean by that is that I don't have to click over here to edit option C, because sometimes I want to edit things while I'm looking at the way they interact with the other components. So I want to edit this one while looking at the name. So I'm going to double click into it, and I'm going to double click again and double click again. And so every time I double click, I enter like a new, I kind of enter into it, and you can see how I enter into it over here on the right, and I'm going to double click again. And so now I can see that I can change this circle. I can select the circle and move it up a tiny bit. And I can get out of that by double clicking on the outside. So now I can see that it's not interacting with the name as hard. And that's what I wanted. That was just like a quick tweak into it. And of course, that change that I just applied is going to be visible here when I look at the component itself. All right, cool. So one last, so I think with these, you get the idea that you can like create just variations of designs, like, you know, fairly quickly. I think another pattern I wanted to like kind of visit here is something I mentioned last time, but I just kind of went really fast on it. Is that you can, we get this kind of interesting behavior for free. So let's create another one. I'm going to duplicate option C, duplicate that component, so creates option D. And the thing I say we get for free is that now that I have the outline here of this one with the flatten applied to it, I can add additional shapes on top, and the well done score is going to take care of them. What I mean by that is that, let's see, for example, let me do a quick example. Like if I do a star, right here, I'm going to make it red. Let's make a small star. And check out what I'm going to do. If I place the star like right here in the middle, here it looks kind of weird. But once the weld and score, oh, I need to place it. So, but once the weld and score gets applied to it, then it's going to do something interesting. So in order to look at it, I need to go back to decoration. And remember, I've been just like adding the different options here. So I'm going to hide the previous one. I'm going to place option D here. And if I look at the front, look at what it does to the star. It essentially thinks of it as an additional shape that needs to be welded and scored. So just like the name. So that way you kind of get like an additional sort of free layer or something like that. So the star looks okay, but let's move the star a little bit. So notice that if I move the star, I want to move the star only. Star, I'll use the arrow keys. So if I kind of like play around with that little overlap, the star is just an example. Like the example I used last time was with a cross. So is there a cross emoji? I'm not sure. I think maybe the cross might look better if I replace. Yeah, maybe I can put it in the circle, like right in the middle of the circle. So I'm going to change this circle, get a little bigger. And if I place a cross right here, the way I'm going to do the cross is I'm going to just make another line with the pen. So I'm going to make a line here, just a straight line. And I want it to overlap a tiny bit. And then I'm going to make another line across. I hold my shift key to make it perfectly horizontal. When I'm done, I can, to center it, I can grab it now from the midpoint origin here. Try and center it. And to make those lines kind of, to have some thickness, I can select them both. Those paths I just created and go to modify. And there's this option called outline stroke. So that gives me two things for free. Like it kind of joins the outlines. I mean, it outlines them and then joins them. So it's like a quick way to get at it. And I think I want to make it red, so it matches the other one. And let's just see what it looks. Okay, yeah, it looks neat. So I get the. I think I could probably move this line a little better. Lots of double clicking. I just want to move it down so the proportions are a little nicer. Yeah, it looks good. Let's do one last example. I think I can do one last example in a couple of minutes. So I think the other example I was thinking was, well, let's go back here to option D. I'm gonna duplicate it. That creates option E, and I don't need all these things I just did. I'm just gonna delete it. I'm gonna ungroup it. And let's get rid of the circles. Maybe it wasn't such a great idea to duplicate that one. I thought the option that would be fun would be to add, like, let's see, I think I've seen like a heart. So if I add a heart, I can just grab one of the basic shapes from Cuttle, like so. Maybe I do want this to be flattened. I think if I just apply it like so, I'm already getting sort of what I'm looking for. Let's see if that heart looks good. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go back to the decoration, just hide the previous one, apply option E, just the one I just created with the heart, and see what it looks like. Yeah, that's not bad. So here I'm using that trick I just used, where like I'm kind of relying on the well done score to apply the heart a little bit. Maybe if I move the heart up and then do the hatching idea that Lisa suggested, I could probably make a sort of asymmetric hatch by just creating like a sort of thing like these. And actually, I want these to be part of the flatten over here. So let me see. I'm gonna kind of magically add it. So I'm gonna make it red and increase the width. And so yeah, no, let's get rid of the flatten. Delete it. I'm gonna move them together. So I want this path and the egg shape to be flattened, and then I want the heart to be on top. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, it's okay. But anyway, hopefully this kind of empowers you to try different designs and different ideas, and hopefully this was kind of like an interesting an interesting view of like, all the kind of tweaking and little decision making that can go into it. Hopefully the hope for me is that like, it's kind of fun and interesting to do all these because, sometimes you have to like move things around a bunch and try different things to arrive at interesting designs. And that's also part of the process. Sometimes you just have to play around to get it done. So I think I'm gonna publish this template with all these designs I crafted. I'm gonna, of course, link it to the previous one. And I'll publish the video on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.